Now that we have saved our file again as the board bottom side, we can turn our attention to these holes in the bottom that are going to hold the deck of cards and the cribbage pegs. So this is going to be a two-sided cut that we do at the CNC router. So because now we're on the bottom side, I can go ahead and take this and just get this out of here. You could even delete it if you don't want to have it. I try to get in the habit of not deleting. But we're just going to focus on our center here, and we're going to focus on creating this shape. So to begin with, you need to know the dimensions of cards, and cards come in different dimensions, but we're going to deal with the deck of poker cards. So poker card dimensions are 5.5 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, and 9/16 of an inch thick for a deck. So we're going to use that to guide us. Remember, over here we have our conversions. So we're going to start with our rectangle tool, and I'm going to make a rounded rectangle here. And I'm going to start my first corner of my rectangle at 0, 0, just to keep things easy. So I'm going to type in 0 and enter. And I want to use the 3-point option. So I'm going to click on 3-point. So our width is 3.5 inches. We want to give ourselves a little bit extra room because we're going to have a case for the cards, and we want the case to be able to slide in and out. So we're going to go 3 5/8 of an inch, and if we look over here, 5/8 is 0.625. So I'm going to type in 3.625 and enter, and that's going to constrain the length of my edge. So I'm going to pull out this way, hold the shift key down, and click. And now, I know we're going into the design here, but it's easier just to have this start at 0. Now I want to go up 5.5. We're going to add that little bit, so we're going to go 5 5/8. So I'm going to go 5.625, enter. And now I've established the length of that, and then I'll click. And now we need to round over the corners because it's a rounded corner rectangle. So I'm going to just type in a radius, which I want to do 0.25, enter. And now I've got this rounded rectangle. And we can go ahead and grab this right here, and as long as on the gumball, if I right click gumball and I set this to snappy dragging right here, I can grab this and I can find the center of this and I can put that at center. Now we want to make, if we look at this, we want to make this hole for the pegs. I think we're going to go with the same width, and we'll go with about an inch for the height. So I'm going to grab my rounded rectangle tool again. I'm going to start my first corner at 0, enter. I'm going to choose the 3-point option again, and I'm going to try to choose 3.625, enter. Hold the shift key down and pull this out again. And now for my height, or the width, I'm going to type in 1, enter, and see how that looks. And to me that looks a little bit small, so I think I'm going to go with 1.5, 1.5, enter. And that looks pretty good. It looks even a little bit big, so I'm going to be picky here. I'm going to go 1.25, enter, and I like that, so I'm going to click. I'm going to match the same radius, 0.25, enter. And now I'm going to move this again to the center. So now I can move this up here. I know I'm right in line with the other one. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a gap there. And I'm going to turn off my green layer with the holes. I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to use the hide command and hide them. And now I can deal with this as one object. And I'm going to put that in the center. So now I've got my hole for my deck of cards. I've got my hole for my pegs. You can see right here that there's a little cutout so you can reach your finger in there. So let's do that. That's a little arc. let's come to the center and let's grab our arc tools right here. We're going to do center start angle. So I'm going to snap to the midpoint here, and then I'm going to constrain my length. I'm going to go with a 0.375 inch length. I'm going to hold my shift key down and come straight down, and then I'm going to come around, hold my shift key down and come straight up, and I've created this little arc. Now I will select both of these units right here, grab my trim tool and trim this away, and then grab my join tool. And now I've got that little finger grab in there like they do. And then the last thing we want to do is put a rectangle all the way around this that this lid will fit inside of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again grab a rectangle, rounded corner. I'm going to start it at 0, and I want to add a good 1/4 of an inch on each side of this. In fact, I'm going to add probably 3/8 of an inch on each side of it. So I'm going to take 3.625 and I'm going to add 3/4 to that. So 3.625 plus 3/4, that's 3 5/8 plus 3/4 is going to be 3.625 plus 0.75 equals 4.375, which is 4 3/8. So I'm going to type in 4.375, enter, hold the shift key down, and now I'm going to, for my other length, what I'm going to do is I am going to go just guess at this, and then I'm going to type in 0.25 for my radius. And now I can grab this, and I can grab this and move this to the center. And if I want to scale this lengthwise, I can grab this green box and just move this way until I like how that looks. And I obviously need this to be a little bit wider to deal with this, so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to make this a little wider this way. Now I know that's centered. I know I've got those things the correct size, and I'll be ready to move on to cutting these to the correct depth. So I'm going to save this, file save as, Mr. V's cribbage board bottom side, April 24th update. Save that, put a copy of that in your Microsoft Teams folder, send me a message and let me know you've completed the task.